Chapter 24. July 6th, JFK Airport, New York. At the moment, I am sitting in the airline terminal at the airport waiting to board my flight. Since I have decided to take a trip to New Galimar, I'm keeping a journal of my experiences along the way so I don't forget anything. Wow. Just writing that last sentence is a mouthful. If anybody knew exactly what I'm planning to do, they would suggest I get my head examined. But then again, they haven't had the intense experience of meeting Quarlin. Just 2 months ago, when I found the Galimarian Amulet of Understanding, I had no idea what I was in for. I have always been interested in the cultures of other people, where they came from, what they're doing now, and where they're going. But I certainly had no idea my life would take this enormous left turn, and that one of those cultures I would be learning about would be one which didn't originate on Earth. Once I decided to take the trip to New Galimar, there was a lot of planning I had to do. First, I had to get the time off from work, which wasn't a problem, since I've been there for years and never taken a vacation. I had so much stored up vacation time, the administrator was glad I was going to take the time off, instead of cashing it out. Something about his budget not being able to handle that kind of hit all at once. I decided to make it a month-long vacation, beginning today. After deciding to take the vacation, I then had to plan how I would actually get to the island. I considered chartering a seaplane, but that presented some problems. First, I don't know how to fly, and I don't want anybody else, such as the pilot, knowing where I am going. I have come to truly appreciate these people and how they live. Although they probably don't know humans have advanced as much as we have, I still don't want to force them to be exposed to the rest of the world. They have remained isolated for this long, so it's probable they want to remain that way, and I want to respect that. If they decide to make their presence known to the rest of the world once they meet me, then that will be their decision. So, no plane. The only option left was to use a boat. Fortunately for me, I know how to sail. Having grown up in Maine with a father who was a professional fisherman, I was around the sea all my youth. My father made it his aim for me to know how to captain a boat before I could captain a tricycle. So, being out in the open sea by myself didn't really faze me. I figured I could rent a relatively small boat, but not too small, since I needed to have one I could sleep on. I did a lot of checking and found this small company in Miami willing to rent me a boat for the month I needed. I've seen pictures of the craft, and it looks like it will be perfect. It has a cabin where the bed is located, an area outside the cabin with a galley, and the head is right off that. It even has a shower. My dad's boats never had showers, that's for sure. I asked them to have the boat stocked with groceries for me, so all I have to do is load my luggage and go. I have to admit I'm a little concerned about pirates. Not the swashbuckling kind, of course, but the kind who board your boat and steal your things, maybe even do you harm. I've done research, and I don't think that's something I really need to worry too much about. But let's just say I've arranged for some personal protection and leave it at that. Enough said. So, I'm off to Florida. Wish me luck. July 7th, Miami. Just woke up, still screwing in my eyeballs, and trying to wake up with some coffee. I got in yesterday and checked into a hotel I had booked for one night. I'm supposed to load the boat this afternoon. Meanwhile, I'm just going to luxuriate in my hotel-supplied robe, have room service bring me my breakfast, and actually act like I'm on vacation. July 7th, evening, Miami Harbor. Just a quick note to say I'm all aboard and just finished the first meal I made here on the boat. This is so awesome. I decided to stay in port until morning before striking out to open sea. The gentle rocking of the boat is really starting to have an effect on me. I'm getting pretty sleepy, so I think I'll rack out. Tomorrow, the real adventure begins. I'm tired, but at the same time all keyed up over the prospect of what I'm actually proposing to do. Meet an alien race? That's crazy. And yet, here I am. July 8th. Open Sea. I got up this morning and, after getting my things all set, headed out to the open sea. I went past all the recreational sailing vessels and then the cruise ships leaving for the Caribbean. Eventually, the only sound I could hear was the motor. By the way, I made sure there was plenty of fuel on board and will keep a good eye on the fuel consumption too. I found out all the possible islands along the way where I might be able to put in for some additional fuel, but I plan on making a straight shot to New Galimar, and, based on my calculations, I should have plenty. At this point, I should document the preparations I made to get to the island. After many conversations with Corlin, I found out New Galimar is located smack dab in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. In fact, I have a theory sitting in the back of my mind that maybe the shield is to blame for... Well, I guess I should talk about that shield first. Despite all the abundance of technology and wonderfulness of their race, the Galimarians have a problem with our sun. Their homeworld is different. For some reason, their sun never produces any UV rays. Or maybe their atmosphere doesn't allow any UV rays to get to the ground. But the bottom line is Galimarians aren't able to handle it on their skin. Once they arrived on Earth, they were ill-prepared for how much actually does make it to the ground here. When they discovered this problem, they built a machine which shields them from the UV radiation of our sun by creating a bubble around the entire island. The shield sits about 15 miles off the coast on all sides of the island, making it possible to explore the sea life around them. All Galimarians know they need to avoid the shield because it is possible to be harmed by it. This is the basis of my theory that maybe this shield is actually the cause of a lot of all the Bermuda Triangle lore. Maybe that's what causes planes and boats to not make it, or be knocked off course, or something. At any rate, one of the things I went over with Corlin in exhaustive detail was the course I would need to take to get to the island. Since I'm all alone out here, I'm going to set the boat on automatic pilot, put on part of my bikini, and soak up some of those harmful UV rays. LOL. July 9th. Not much to report today. I've been going over the course I'm taking, comparing it to the GPS, and I'm right on the money. Evening. After dinner, I decided to visit Corlin. I put on the amulet and was instantly transported to my home away from home. When I got there, I decided to come clean with Corlin about exactly who and what I am. I needed to tell her I'm not a Galimarian, but rather a human. Once I got there, I wasn't sure I would be able to maintain the charade with living, breathing Galimarians. They would take one look at me and see, among many other things, that my eyes have color. The proverbial jig would be up. When I told her I was human, she didn't react at all. She just looked at me. I had forgotten she is actually a computer and not a real person. I thought I had thrown a curve at her that just wasn't in her programming. I was wrong. It turns out her programming is a lot more complex than I had imagined. During the dozens of times I had visited her, I was the only one to ask questions. I would ask, she would always answer. Not one question was rebuffed, and she was quite open and frank and honest about anything I wanted to know. Now, after just staring at me for a bit, she started asking questions herself. She asked how I came to be in possession of an amulet of understanding. I told her all I knew. After doing research on the amulet a couple of weeks after finding it, I discovered the meaning of its tag, Field Expedition number 5894. I initially thought it signified the 5,894th item found on some field expedition. As it turns out, the word field referred to Cyrus Field, the first guy who ran a transatlantic telegraph cable. Sometime during that voyage, they had to do some dredging for a cable that had broken and had fallen down to the ocean floor. When they brought up the cable, this amulet came up with the dredging hook. Apparently, the amulet and its magnetic fields caused the ship to veer off course for a while, nearly costing them the success of the project. The captain had laid it near the compass, which was knocked out of whack because of it. I was amused to discover the official record said electricity running through the cable caused the compass to be off, instead of the captain accidentally causing the problem. After I had told Corlin that story, she asked me why I didn't tell her who I really was, and why I had masqueraded as a Galimarian. I started to get nervous, thinking she was going to stop talking to me or something. I was honest, and I told her what I did for a living, that I was an archaeologist. She started getting really interested in me, and in humans in general. Keep in mind that up to this point all Galimarians thought humans were too barbaric to merit any interaction. I explained there are some in our world who still exhibit that tendency, but then I started telling her about all the things the more civilized parts of our world had accomplished. Things such as walking on the moon, electronics, the internet, computers, medical technology, communications, philosophy, science, and physics. She then explained how normally amulets are in constant communication with the island through a short-distance signal, but she had been out of communication with the island for about 700 years. The only signal she had received was a one-way signal coming from something on the island needing maintenance. Apparently, it had sent out a long-range signal strong enough to cover the entire globe. That was the only signal she had heard, and it was received a little over 100 years ago. When she received that signal, she created the beeping I heard when I first came down to the archive. I thought it was remarkable that Corlin seemed like a being conscious and aware of its own existence. I smiled, and in keeping with this new questioning persona, Corlin asked me why I was smiling. I looked down, then back up at her, and said it was amazing to me that a computer program could simulate emotions as she does. That's when she rocked my world, and revealed she was actually much more than a computer program. Corlin was a computer with memory engrams from her original designer impressed on her circuits. The personality and memories of her designer are part of her programming. So, Corlin feels emotions and has needs just the same as her flesh and blood counterparts. For all intents and purposes, Corlin is alive. I guess you could say I'm no longer alone on this trip. The level of communication existing between Corlin and me is on a totally different level now. In a very real way, she and I are becoming really good friends. We spent the balance of my visit with her pretty much talking almost like best friends. She was just as interested in me as I was in her. She had never done this before, but she actually accessed my mind, and with my own memories, I showed her what my world was like. What a rush to relive some of my own memories. The last thing she said to me was that she was looking forward to reestablishing communications with the Galimarian population and her sibling amulets. All I can say is, wow. July 10th. I did it. Today was the day I arrived at the place where the shield is. If it had been any old boat, I would no doubt have run into the shield and been smashed into bits. But with Corlin's help, I was able to slip through the shield, and now I'm on my way to the island. As I got nearer to the place where the shield was, I must say I was feeling a little bit of trepidation about getting through it unharmed. Corlin assured me it wouldn't be a problem. According to her, the basis of the shield has something to do with magnetism, and the whole reason why the amulet has a magnetic field around it is so that any time it got near to the shield, the field around the amulet would cancel the effect of the shield. Something I didn't expect was the shield being completely invisible. I guess I was expecting to see some sort of apparition, a wall of some sorts, some discoloration, something. But nope, nothing. According to the coordinates I had programmed into my GPS unit, we were there. I killed my engine and just let my momentum carry me through. One moment I was just a boat on the water with nothing in front of me other than miles and miles of ocean. The next second I looked up and was suddenly presented with a vista of things I swear weren't there before, most ostensibly the island. Until Corlin explained what was going on, I sat there rather perplexed. She calmed my wonder when she explained that one of the designs of the shield is the ability to project on one side, the outside of the bubble, what is happening on the opposite side. The result is that nothing inside of the shield bubble can be seen at all. Amazing. I guess today is the day for nerves. I told Corlin I was a little apprehensive about meeting her people for the first time. What will they think? Will they run from me? Will they be mad that I came? She assured me this wouldn't be the case. She cited the fact that Galimarians are an explorer people, and they have been searching out connections with intelligent life on other planets for thousands of years. When they first came to Earth, humans were far too barbaric for their tastes, and at the time they felt that it would take thousands of years for humans to change in any way. Meeting me would be a welcome event in their lives, so by the time we finished talking, I was refreshed and actually looking forward to meeting them. I should be landing on shore in about an hour. Wish me luck. July 13th. I haven't written in my journal in a couple of days, mostly because words fail me. Oh my God, I'm just so... My last journal entry a few days ago ended with me being so excited about meeting the Galimarians for the first time. I wondered what it would be like when I saw them for the first time. I saw them all right. When I got there and entered the city, I discovered them. Now I understand why Corlin hasn't been able to communicate with them. They're all dead. D-E-A-D. Hey, fellow Galimarians, this is Dan Adrian, and I just wanted to say thank you for listening to my book. If you can, please click like down below because it really helps me bring these videos to you and lets me know what you like. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe and click on the bell so that you'll get notified when I release more chapters. If you have any questions about this or any other of my books, or if you want to know more about what it takes to write a novel like this one, please make sure you leave your question in the comments below. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.